KEON Coleman is on the block, guys, in a 12-team Superflex PPR 175 tight end premium start 10. KEON Coleman or Xavier Leggett and Marshawn Lloyd, Scott Connor.
Yeah, so this is a classic 2-for-1. We're not so far removed from the rookie drafts where somebody would have been giving up, in this case, the 207, 208 plus whatever Marshawn Lloyd's price was. Call it a late second, early thirds, depending on your league. Let's just call it the 208 and the 211 for the 203 to draft KEON Coleman. I'll give this for KEON Coleman. He was the second youngest prospect at receiver this year. People like young receivers. He went to a good landing spot, and he hasn't dropped in value for anything since he got drafted. Everything has been fun-loving, positive, nothing really negative about him, other than the fact, of course, the Bills traded back and could have let anybody get him. So I don't know if they had to have KEON Coleman, given they let two other teams trade ahead of them to get wide receivers, including one of the ones in this trade right here. So I'm going to still lean KEON Coleman, but I do think the same risk profile that he's had the whole time is going to enter the season for the manager that has him. And I also think, even though he's only 21-year-old, Shane, if he does not produce right away, he's in trouble. Just based on his name, based on what else is in that receiver room, he needs to produce right away. So I think he's a little risky still.
Shane, I actually made this trade, full disclosure, so I'm not going to tell you which side. Which side are you going to be on?
Probably KEON Coleman, but more to the fact because I do feel like there's definitely that grace. As much as we don't want to pretend, well, we do pretend. There's human biases involved, right? KEON Coleman's just a likable dude. We see all the press conferences about what his favorite candy is, and I don't know, whatever the other ones. I forget what he got locked in a freezer or something, and it was hilarious. It's just cute. It's just adorable. So we'll forgive if he only has 300 yards receiving through the first 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Xavier Leggett does that. We're going to go, oh, I didn't like his prospect profile to begin with. He's terrible. Meanwhile, KEON Coleman matches, N'Keal Harry? But we'll forgive that. Now, I like KEON Coleman because guess what? He's fun. He's likable. And I know that even if he craps his pants the first 4 or 5 weeks, that if he has a good 3-week run, that'll still hold his value. So I'll go with KEON Coleman because I also do think his upside is higher than Xavier Leggett's.
Let's test that likability, guys. Same format, 12-team Superflex PPR 175 tight end premium, start 10. KEON Coleman, pair him up with Jaden Reed. And do you think that you'll be able to get Kyle Pitts for this wide receiver pairing, Scott?
Ooh, I like this deal. I think this is trading out of the receiver range that I can live without. It is accomplishing multiple things. You are cashing in 2 pieces to get 1. You're not having to trade a first-round pick. I was thinking I would take the KEON Coleman side if that was a first instead of Jaden Reed. But because it is another receiver, I'm okay doing it, especially if I look at my team and I go, well, drafted a couple extra receivers. I have enough receiver firepower. I'll practice what I preach. I've been talking about trading away receivers for positional upgrades or liquidity in deals exactly like this. It's still a start 10. If Kyle Pitts is good, he's going to offer me something at his position that I don't know if either of these players is going to, and I'm not having to include any draft picks. So I'm going to take Kyle Pitts here, but I can also see the argument of somebody that says, I want to get out on Kyle Pitts and I want to get 2 players that I think I could maybe flip for first down the road, and I'd rather do that.
Shane, split Scott's tie.
I have absolutely no inclination, not the correct use of that word, as to why anyone would take KEON Coleman and Jaden Reed over Kyle Pitts in a 1.75. Maybe if you already have Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, and Michael Bauer, and you're like, Michael Bauer? I just combined Brock Bauer and Michael Meyer, and got his name wrong again on the second time around. So Brock Bowers. Anywho, that's the only possible. And you have no receivers, literally none on your team. Somehow you've built a roster with no receivers. You just forgot you had to draft them. You look up at the end and you're like, oh, crap, I do need receivers. That's the only way I'm doing this.
I do think, Shane, would you trade Kyle Pitts for 2 firsts?
Yeah, but these aren't 2 firsts.
I think you need
I need the
one good preseason game from KEON Coleman to be able to get 2 firsts for the 2 receivers. That is the path, asset-wise, in today's market. If you're holding Coleman and Reed, there could be a world where on September 15th, you've had 2 firsts for them instead of the receivers that you have. So that would be the reason that I would consider the receivers, but I'm still going Pitts.
Guys, let's go lightning round here. Shane, I'll start with you real quick. Same format, KEON Coleman or Calvin Ridley and a 25-second.
Keon Coleman.
Give me the extra second. Give me Calvin Ridley. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the wash in production. Probably more production from Ridley, and I'm getting this
Lightning.
back.
Lightning.
Perfect leverage deal.
Lightning is quick. It strikes you and then it's gone, Scott. So now I'm going to have to come back. Lightning is going to strike twice. The reason I'm taking Keon Coleman is one of these things could be turned into a first in their lifetime, and it ain't Calvin Ridley in a second.
All right, let us know in the comments any Keon Coleman trades you've seen in your leagues, and let's go continue this conversation in our Discord.